a deeper dive now. Let's welcome in Lieutenant Colonel Dakota Wood, Senior Research Fellow for Defense Programs at the Heritage Foundation. Lieutenant Colonel, thank you so much for your time. I'd like to start with this increasing pressure. We know the U.S. is putting pressure on Israel, to transition to more targeted campaigns in Gaza. We know that there is this push for a ceasefire. Do you think this increased pressure from the U.S. as well as other international pressure is having any impact?
Well, according to Netanyahu, the answer to that is no. They're rejecting all of these entreaties to minimize the operations there in Gaza because it's the Israelis that are dealing with the much overused word existential threat, right? I mean, Hamas leadership continues to double down and to reiterate that their objective is the elimination of the state of Israel and to kill as many Jews as possible. So, politicians in Washington, D.C. or Berlin or London or anywhere else can tell the Israelis to be much more discriminating, to be more careful, to value civilian lives, which obviously the Israelis do, but it has to do with the threat that's posed to Israel itself. And I don't know of any other country in the world that takes as much pain as Israel does to give advanced warnings, to urge civilians to leave areas, to have them go into areas where they would be safer, and to try to get Hamas leadership to stop operating from within these resettlement camps or refugee camps and hospitals and mosques and what have you. So Israel typically bends over backwards to do the things that it's being demanded of it, but they still have to deal with the enemy.
But a lot of people would say, even giving this warning, where are these civilians supposed to go when there is just, it seems like nearly total devastation at this point in northern Gaza and southern Gaza? I mean, we know there is still this possibility of an exodus into Egypt. That is still a possibility, but is really the only real option for most of these civilians at this point to just continuously keep fleeing.
And that is the real tragedy of this prosecution of these assaults and attacks by Hamas. That Israel pulled out of Gaza 20 years ago. It's been self-governing. Hamas has been there as the ruling authority for 17 or 18 years now, and over that period of time has continued to prosecute attacks. So, I mean, I'm not blaming little kids in Gaza. This is not their fault. They truly are the innocents in this whole, mess. But their parents, shopkeepers, other civilians there in Gaza that have tolerated the presence of Hamas, that have supported their activities, they are now suffering the consequences of that 17 or 18 or 20 years worth of decisions. Does that mean that civilians should be killed? No, that's not what that means. But this is the nature of war when it is all-out war. So Israel could pull back. Hamas hasn't changed its tune. It would continue to prosecute attacks. So anything like a two-state solution or a cessation of hostilities, I just don't think is in the cards right now.
No, yeah, certainly, Lieutenant Colonel, it doesn't appear to be in the cards. And speaking of that, right now, only about 1/3 of Israelis still even believe the goal of getting those remaining Israeli hostages out and home, more than 100 of them, is still even achievable. Do you think it can still happen?
We don't want to rule anything out, right? So even in major wars, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, what have you, when one side takes prisoner the combatants of the other side, they now have the obligation to feed them and care for them, provide medical support. Hamas has abducted innocent civilians and holding them hostage. So the extent to which those hostages are in danger is only because Hamas is keeping them in the battle zone. If we wanted the war to stop, Hamas leadership would give up their objectives. They would release the hostages with no conditions. And if their Arab or Sunni brethren in the area, fellow Muslims, wanted to really serve the Gazan people, Egypt would open some of its borders. So what does it say about the Arab world or the Egyptians or fellow Muslims that they don't want this association with the Muslim Brotherhood? Hamas being an offshoot of that, that tells you that even Egypt and Saudi Arabia and others view Hamas as a danger. So again, I come back to what should Israel do when the threat persists and their enemy hasn't given up any of these objectives.
Oh, yeah, it certainly does not seem that there was, any simple solutions here.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.